I think we have this myth, like athletes are motivated all the time. Like they're just intrinsically motivated. They are like, yeah, let's go work out. Yeah. That is so far from the truth.
Welcome to The Lisa Show, where we take a good look at life. Hey, it's Lisa, and I don't know about you, but every time the Olympic Summer Games roll around, there's just a little corner of my heart that wishes I had actually pursued breakdancing or synchronized swimming. I mean, come on. Either way, I'd get to do awesome dance moves in sweatpants or sequins. It's a win-win. But I chose another path. But chances are that you and I will never compete in the Olympics, unless they add a Netflix watching competition, in which case I will be bringing home the gold. And yet we still all have hurdles to struggle over in day-to-day life, whether it's the loss of a loved one, mental health issues, physical challenges, strained relationships, financial setbacks, or even looming doubts and low self-confidence. We're all going through difficult things, and so are our kids. Resilience and grit, the abilities to bounce back and remain determined, seem to be the buzzwords that we all know we need, but actually attaining them is a different story. So, I wanted to get some advice from friends who have spent their lives doing hard things and overcoming immense challenges. And wow, did these ladies come through. Whitney Orton Morgan and Stephanie Rovetti are Olympians, and they have 8 ways we can all strengthen our emotional resilience and grit. And great news, none of them require being tackled or running a sub-5-minute mile. So breathe a sigh of relief. Let me introduce you to these incredible women.
I'm Whitney Morgan. I'm a BYU alum. I ran track and field at BYU. I run for Adidas, and I just ran the 5K in the Paris Olympics.
My name is Steph Rovetti. I'm a member of the USA women's rugby team, and we just got back from Paris from winning a bronze medal.
Now, when people meet an Olympian, they may think, oh, that person is just really good at running fast or playing rugby or whatever the event is, as if it's just destiny. But what they don't see are the years of practice and mountains of heartache that these athletes have experienced to get where they are. Whitney and Stephanie have traveled numerous peaks and valleys to become Olympians. For example, Whitney underwent surgery on her leg in November of 2023, which left her immobilized just 9 months before she competed in the Paris Olympics. You want to talk about someone who knows how to fight against the odds? And Steph? Well, let's just say a broken finger, a broken hand, and a shattered leg, all in the last few years, didn't stop her from her Olympic dream. These Olympians both know more than their fair share of physical hardships. But just because they are Olympians doesn't mean they don't experience their own emotional struggles as well. Even Olympians can have imposter syndrome or struggle with comparison, as Stephanie can tell you.
We go to the training site and it would be like, Sha'Carri Richardson is over there training, and you have Noah Lyles over here walking in. You want to take a picture with him, and Snoop Dogg's over there. I felt like a little fangirl. A little bit of that at the beginning, like imposter syndrome. Like there's Simone Biles over there. Like we're not in the same league here, but no, you've worked hard. You're the best at your sport.
Whitney, as you can imagine, was equally ecstatic about beating the odds and making the U.S. track and field Olympic team. When her time came to run the 5K, things fell into place for Whitney.
Getting on the line, I was just so happy. I'm like, this is exciting. I was enjoying it, and it was pretty magical just being in the race and competing against the best in the world and being there and believing that I got here on not ideal circumstances, but I was still there.
I'm so thrilled for these women. They made a goal, they experienced heartache and injury, but they still kept going and saw their dreams through to the end. That takes some serious physical, emotional, and mental resilience and grit. So how did they do it? How did they build a safety net to get them through hard days and setbacks and self-doubt? Well, Stephanie and Whitney were good enough to tell me. So here are their top tips for growing our own resilience and grit. Tip number 1 is to know your why and your who. Why are you doing what you're doing? And who do you want to be while you're doing it? Here's what Whitney had to say about that.
I guess being within yourself, right? You can assume there's so many people watching you or so many people judging what you're doing or being a critic, right? Or you can just be within yourself and be like, I have these goals. I'm doing this for my own purposes. I'm not doing this to please outside world. I'm doing this for my own fulfillment. And so keeping your whys in a good place. And I think whenever your whys are for the outside eye, just the world, it can become full of pressure. And I've experienced that at BYU, when you're early into it and you're having success, it's easy to let the outside words that are really nice, boost you, right? But then when it goes bad, which it's never going to always be good. So there's going to be some ups and downs. When it goes bad, it does the same thing. It has that much effect on you still in a negative way. So I think just keeping your motivation intrinsic and doing it for your reasons that feel good to you. It doesn't matter what everyone else is thinking or what everyone else is feeling. It just matters what God thinks and how I feel and what I'm doing and that I'm getting better and I'm growing. And in your core, who do you want to be, right? And aligning your actions with things that will help you become that version of yourself. So for me, I want to be tough. I want to be hardworking. I want to be resilient. And so when you're in those moments where no one's watching, you're just maybe in your house all alone working on your elliptical or doing your own little at-home workout. When it gets hard, do you want to be someone that caves in and gives up, or are you going to want to be someone that's tough? Because those little moments are what makes you who you are in everything else.
Knowing your why is all about deciding what sources of validation really matter. And knowing your who is committing to the person who you want to be. Stephanie has a similar why and who to Whitney, but the things that really help Steph commit to these ideas is actually writing them down.
Something that really helped me in my career is I just wrote down, what kind of player do I want to be? And I said, I want to be a good teammate. I want to be known as a really hard worker. I want to be really tough and gritty. I want to be dependable. So those are what I want to be. And then I wrote down, okay, what does that look like? If I had to put resilient in an action, what does that look like? So I wrote down, if I fall down, I get back up. If you want to write down, what do I want to be? And then what does that look like in action? That helps you as you're navigating in a hard moment of I get injured. Okay, let me go back to what I want to be. I want to be resilient. What would a resilient person do? They would keep going. They would come back to train. So having a clear identity of this is who I want to be, that's a good exercise.
Tip number 1, know your why and know your who. That means deciding why you're doing what you're doing and who you want to be while you're doing it. This is when we pull out the trusty pen and paper and make a list of characteristics we want to have and what that looks like in different scenarios. Who do we want to be when someone says something insensitive? When the car breaks down? When our kids misbehave? When things don't go as planned? Now, quick caveat here. Stephanie believes 2 things should always be on your who list. First, be yourself and lean into your own unique talents. Second, Stephanie says we should be people who help others to be their best selves. Stephanie learned these ideas from one of her coaches while vying for a spot on the Olympic team.
I had a conversation with him, just crying to him, I don't think I'm going to make it. How do I get my spot? And he just said, you just got to make the team better. I can't tell you what to do. You just have to be yourself. Don't try to be this person and don't try to be this person. Be Steph, because Steph's great at this, this, and this. Be really good at what you're good at. And then make other people better. Make Alona Maher better. Make Lauren Doyle better. Make all these players better, and you will be on the team.
And you know what? It worked. Stephanie made the team because she knew who she wanted to be. She wanted to be Stephanie, and she wanted to be someone who made others better. So when we all sit down to write down our who lists, we should save 2 slots at the top for being ourselves and for helping others to be their best selves. I don't know what these things look like in rugby since I've never played it, but I do go to work every day, and I know that one of my strengths is conversing with people. So one of my who's will be being Lisa Valentine Clark, that friendly lady who usually walks around the office with a can of diet soda in her hand. Maybe I can even strike up a conversation with someone I don't know as well. That is my strength, and I can lean into it. But then I also want to be the person who makes others better. So when I do have conversations, I can commit to asking others about their day or offer a compassionate ear or simply comment on the strengths I see in them. All of these things are simple ways I can make the people around me better by just being who I am. The second tip our Olympians have for us is to use lessons from the past to prevent regret tomorrow or regret-proofing the future. We are more than our history. We may not be happy or proud of what has happened there, but according to Stephanie, it is still valuable intel.
We have this saying like history instructs, it doesn't dictate. So it just gives us more information. It doesn't mean because you won last time, you're going to win again. Because you lost last time, you're not going to win again. Like history just instructs us. It doesn't determine what's going to happen next.
The past isn't a fortune teller, but it can be a teacher if we let it. Here's how Whitney used past performances to help her future.
I've ended many races and I've been like, wow, I wish I would have done this better, or this better, or this better. And just learning from those times and applying them to the next time so that you can finish your race and be like, wow, I have no regrets. I did everything that I would have wanted to do. I gave it everything. I finished on empty. There's nothing else I can do. So I don't need to think about it and be upset with myself about it because no, I have no regrets.
Another thing Whitney does to regret-proof her future is to find the purpose in all of her wins and even in her losses. That way, even setbacks can turn into net positives.
I really have had so many, I think at least 10 different setbacks of injuries through my career. And at one point I went back and wrote down a lesson that I think I was supposed to learn in that injury. And it was cool to go back and read those or even just read through my journals when I've written about those really hard times. There's always a different theme or a different message that I got from that specific injury, even though maybe it was the same injury, but I learned something different about myself.
Rather than dwelling on mistakes or less than ideal circumstances, Stephanie and Whitney both let their histories bless their futures, not drag them down. They learn from past performances. They write those lessons down. They apply them, and they move forward. That is the type of soil that grows resilience and grit. You'll notice that these women think about so much more than just the performance. They realize that there is an important process behind every important moment. And that is why their third tip is to focus on the process and not on the outcome. Stephanie has seen the difference this makes in her life and in the lives of others.
I have a friend that their daughter is so hard on herself. She's a gymnast. Takes losing so hard when she does bad, just getting so down. But just looking how she's framing, I have to win this vault to be a good gymnast, to make this team, or to win this competition, rather than what was the process. I did really good at my goal of, I did this that I wanted to. I had fun. What was the experience like, rather than what was the outcome like? Because this Olympic experience took 6 years to get me to the Olympics, and there was an entire process that I had to focus on. And if I focused on just the Olympics, I'd be a heartbroken girl. So really emphasizing what was the experience like and working through the experience rather than the outcome. The outcome will come or it won't come. But just this sense of identity and purpose and all of that is how you do it as an individual.
This third tip of focusing on processes rather than outcomes is gold, because if we focus on our process, we can always feel satisfied because it is always in our control. Contrary to what we may think, people with grit have perfected processes, not outcomes. Tip number 4 is really about processes too, and that is to think about the next thing you can do today to move you closer to your goal. Even when Whitney was recovering from surgery and lying immobilized in bed while all of her competitors were training, she realized there was something she could do to prepare for the Olympics.
I obviously couldn't walk. So I couldn't go on a run that day and get closer to my goals that way. So what can I do today with my circumstances now that will help me? When I came home from surgery, I was like, okay, what I can control is that I can control what I put in my body. I was trying to work on my mind. So I'm like, okay, in this moment I can work on my mind. And I was doing meditation for confidence every day. and just trying to get my brain in a better place. And then when I can run, I'll at least be like ready. And so I'd figure out what it was I could do, and I would do those things. And I think that we can all do that within wherever we're at in our journey, right? If you're in a really hard spot, what is it today that you can do to maximize and get the most out of yourself today?
I don't know about you, but I would have been tempted to throw up my hands and bid farewell to my Olympic dreams if I had to go through major surgery just months before competing. This is why Whitney's attitude and approach to doing the next thing is mind-blowing, but also incredibly simple and realistic. Stephanie says focusing on the next thing isn't just something we can do while we're training. We can do this while we're competing. And we can also do this when we are lacking motivation in any aspect of life.
I think we have this myth, like athletes are motivated all the time. Like they're just most intrinsically motivated. They are like, yeah, let's go work out. That is so far from the truth. Yeah. But it is just, how do I just do the next thing? You don't have time to like dwell on something. If you think about something, you're going to mess up. You're probably going to lose the game. So what's the next task I have to do? Okay, they just scored. Okay, my next task is to get, what spot am I at for the kickoff? Okay, my next task is they're kicking the ball. Now I'm telling them to lift me up. Like those next tasks, like next task. And that's the saying that we have.
Tip 4, focus on the next task that will move you closer to your goal. There's always something you can do today, even if you're laid up in bed, as Whitney showed us. I'm not competing anytime soon. So what this looks like for me is asking these questions. What is the next thing I can do to make my workday productive? To finish the homework? To tackle that garage? To be healthy? I love how this principle can also apply to relationship goals. As I think about my kids, I am asking, what is the next thing I can do to strengthen our relationship today? Maybe it's to walk across the room and give them a hug, or to text some encouragement, or to make their favorite meal. And what about our spiritual goals? What step can I take right now to feel closer to God? Say a prayer of thanks, read a verse of scripture, spend a few minutes in nature. These aren't huge steps. They are just the next steps. And after listening to Whitney and Stephanie, I'm realizing that each of these small tasks pay big dividends, especially when it comes to giving us momentum and self-confidence. Another idea our Olympians shared to increase confidence and resilience is to monitor our self-talk. That's tip number 5.
I guess just doubts like, I'm not that good. I'm not world-class level. I don't deserve it. That's actually something that I have a lot, is like, why would I deserve this? I'm just me, But replacing it with I am statements, I really like those, and process-oriented statements. So things that will help you in the journey, right? So like I will say, like, I have been working really hard. I have the speed to finish a race. I have the endurance. I've been doing 6 miles of work now. So that's confidence building for me, because it's good to do extra work. So just saying things that are building confidence, and I still do that. And so before the Olympic trials, I was being very intentional about I needed to build some confidence and I needed to work on my self-talk. So I was being very aware of what I was saying and how I was thinking, and trying to let go of the bad thoughts and replace them with good ones.
Whitney worked on her self-talk before the Olympics. And Stephanie also found she needed to replace some of her thoughts too. Steph says it came down to changing the stories she told herself.
What's my mind doing? What am I telling myself? What stories am I having? It was kind of this joke on the team, like, Steph, you get hurt in the weirdest ways. Like, you just get hurt doing weird stuff. And I'm wondering if, like, what I'm telling myself and my narrative of myself, if that is impacting me, and just really taking a look of like the stories I'm telling myself. Like, I'm not the girl that gets hurt all the time, or I'm talking about my injury a lot. That was my new identity that I had created myself. And there's multiple thoughts or things that I'm telling myself or joking about that's creating who I am. And I wanted to get out of that cycle. I'm not the girl that gets hurt anymore. I'm not the girl that works really hard but doesn't make it. I'm not the girl that's like not the same before her injury. That was a big one. I started to really be aware of all the thoughts throughout the day. I still had weird injuries after that, but I mean, it didn't impact me in a way that's like, that's not me anymore. I'm the girl that's going to make the Olympics. I'm the girl that's going to be tough. And I'm the girl that's going to have a good attitude. I'm the girl that's going to be a good teammate. That's what I wanted to be. And just starting to align like my thoughts and my words had a really, really big impact, which I didn't think it would.
The stories we tell ourselves often play out in our heads and in our conversation, but they can also play out on paper, which is why journaling is key to creating healthy self-talk, as Whitney explains.
Every night I do like a gratitude journal and write a few things I'm grateful for. And then if I'm feeling like I'm not quite there mentally, then I'm like, okay, I'll do a few like statements, like power statements to myself that are very personal to what I need. And so like in this moment right now, I need to be like, I am tough. I am worthy of success. God wants to bless me. I am faithful. I strive to be humble. I strive to do God's will. Things that help me feel good and help me feel like I am like deserving of success and like the most of myself.
Gratitude journals are an unsung hero when it comes to resilience and grit. Like Whitney, I swear by them. But another technique we can all use for healthy self-talk is prayer. Stephanie has discovered that speaking to God about our process can be a great tool for improving our mental space.
But a lot of it's through prayer. Starting your prayer with your gratitude and doing that daily has such a big impact on your resiliency and your outlook. So like this resiliency is so tied to God and your relationship with God and your practices spiritually.
Tip number 5, use positive self-talk. And that talk doesn't just have to be out loud. It can be in our thoughts, in our journals, and in our prayers. That means we look for the good. We focus on our process wins, and we use words that reinforce who we want to be. Now, I know that this takes some practice, and it's so easy for me to rehash things in the past or fret about things on the horizon or sell myself short in both directions. By changing how I talk about myself and the situations I'm in, I can diffuse my anxiety to feel calmer about the things in the past and feel more empowered for things to come. Talk about resilience, folks. I mean, this is where the magic happens. Thought work is absolutely essential to resilience and grit. But Stephanie says there are some physical things we can do to get out of destructive thought spirals. That is tip number 6. Anchor your attention to your surroundings.
Just having this anchor of my attention of, oh my gosh, I'm feeling really nervous or I'm feeling this. Okay, use your sight, use your touch. Sometimes it's a high five to a teammate, and everyone on our team has kind of something different that anchors them. Some people touch the grass. For me, what makes me really nervous is doing the throw-ins. Everyone's looking at you and it's a very big point where you're throwing the ball in.
Now, if you're a rugby rookie like me, it will help to know here that rugby often uses an oblong leather ball with the Gilbert brand on it. You need to know this.
I have a process of like, okay, I look at the G on Gilbert. I put my thumb here. Okay. So I have a step-by-step process that makes me like not think about my emotions, but what I'm actually doing. Because I know if I'm actually thinking about what I'm doing, then those emotions are still there, but it doesn't like trap me.
Tip number 6 is small, but it packs a punch. To help step outside of those negative emotions that can submarine you in your performance, use your physical surroundings to ground your thoughts. This is a tried and true anxiety management technique. I have a friend who runs her hands under cold water when her emotions are getting out of control. I also know someone who counts from 1 to 10 on their fingers to refocus. I do a little thing where I put one hand on my heart and one on my stomach and focus on my breathing. It's super effective. And at night, I slather myself in calming balm and I spray my pillows and sheets with these soothing lavender scents to help my mind relax. I never connected the dots before that practice. Like these are really just a way of building resilience and grit, but that is exactly what they do. Essential oil users are probably way ahead of me on this one. But who would have thought that amber, vanilla, and lavender are actually helping my mind training? Bath & Body Works may need to update their labels and their promotion. Physical surroundings are a tool for emotional resilience. But equally important are the people in those surroundings. It's these people that can actually model grit and resilience for us. So that is tip number 7. Surround yourself with people that inspire you. Here's Stephanie's experience with that.
I really made it a point to really gravitate towards the people that had things that I really admired about them. Like the hardest worker on the team, I followed her around like a puppy dog, just seeing what she does, or, the most confident, opposite of my personality, just this outright confidence that is so inspiring to me, seeing what she does and surrounding myself with 5 people that are better at something than me. So that's been really important for me of like, all right, I'm gonna take 5 people and I'm gonna really invest my time and friendship and energy into developing relationships with them and giving to them as well. Because through that, that's really helped me grow as a person.
Tip number 7, fill your circle with people that inspire you and can help you be better. Pick the people that are already living your goals, whether that's to be kinder or more confident or more courageous. Whatever it is, keep them in your orbit and learn from them. Individuals with grit and resilience don't just learn from their past, they learn from others too. Our Olympians' final tip may just be their most important, and I'll be honest, it doesn't feel comfortable, but it does feel true. Stephanie and Whitney's 8th tip for having more grit and resilience is to embrace the hard. This is something Stephanie and her team had to come to terms with before competing in the Olympics.
And something like we did before the Olympics, we're like, all right, let's write down everything that we think is going to go wrong. 2-3 pages. So we can just mentally be like, okay, we're ready. Our psychologist came in and just shared story after story about these Olympians. Like, we think it's going to be the best experience and it's so fun and happy. And they're like, yeah, I threw up. Yeah, it was the worst experience. I just wanted it to be over. Endless. Like, we think that it's just so happy and easy. And it's like, no, it's so hard. Everything in life is so hard.
Now, you may be thinking that writing down things that could go wrong and then hearing stories about these very things happening for other athletes would only sink your confidence. But for Stephanie and her team, it was a really good reality check. Resilience and grit isn't about fabricating a mindset of butterflies and rainbows. It's about facing what's real in a healthy and productive way. This reality check for Stephanie and her team normed their expectations and reminded them that the Olympics is hard, really hard. But as Whitney reminds us, the hard things are also the most worthwhile.
I feel like running has taught me just that things aren't meant to be easy. And so if you approach life like that and you're just like, yeah, this is hard, but life's supposed to be hard. That doesn't mean that it's not amazing. The hard things are what make life amazing. When you push through those hard things and you are on the other side and you're like, holy cow, like this is incredible. I did so much more than I thought I was capable of. And that could be in anything. Choose to do the hardest thing, the hardest but most rewarding and most faith-building choice in your life that's going to stretch your faith. What is that thing in your life that will make you use the most faith that you have? And so that's the choice that I chose.
Tip number 8, don't just acknowledge the hard, choose it. Whitney's right. It's the hard things that we're the most proud of. And if we want to craft a character that's lined in courageous grit, we'll choose the hard whenever we can. Now, if you're like me, the hard is sometimes just getting through another day. But acknowledging the hard is part of the journey, and embracing it can turn a hurdle into a handhold in our journey and becoming something better. It's not every day you get to sit down with not one, but 2 Olympians and get their best advice for improving resilience and grit. Talk about a masterclass for life. Stephanie Rovetti and Whitney Orton Morgan gave us 8 methods to help us master our mindsets. First, identify your why and who. Why are we doing what we're doing? And who do we want to show up as? Second, remember the past shouldn't dictate the future. It should instruct it. Third, focus on processes, not outcomes. Fourth, do the next thing that can move us towards our goal, even if circumstances aren't perfect. Fifth, edit our self-talk. Sixth, anchor yourself to your surroundings. Seventh, surround yourself with people that inspire you and learn from them. And finally, embrace the hard. It's part of the journey and it yields the most meaningful results. These are all fantastic ideas from women who know what they're talking about. And as I've been thinking about where I can improve, it dawned on me that grit can mean 2 things. It can mean personal strength and resolve, but it can also mean small particles like grains of sand. This was an encouraging realization because it reminds me that improving my emotional resilience and grit and helping my kids improve theirs doesn't need to happen in big, sweeping changes. It can start small, and even those small changes can make an Olympic-sized difference in how we experience this life.
The Lisa Show is a production of BYU Radio, hosted by Lisa Valentine Clark. This episode was produced by Erica Price, with help from Kenny Mears, and with music and post-production by Kit Merrill. A special thanks to our guests, 2024 Olympians Whitney Orton Morgan and Stephanie Rovetti. If you haven't subscribed to The Lisa Show on YouTube, you can find even more content on our channel, including the Council of Moms filmed live in our studio. As always, thanks for your messages. We read them all, and thanks for listening.